We'll get started in about a minute here. Let the folks at home get logged in. Are we live? Okay, I better get in front of the podium here so people know they're at the right location online. Let's a few more folks come in the front door here. It's a great day today, and tomorrow's going to be even better, so be sure and get out and roll those hoses up and get ready for winter.
The birds are happy.
Yes, they're very happy. My two crow friends came back today. I haven't seen them for a couple of weeks, but they were back at the bird feeder today, chatting away.
Yeah, they get pretty busy and loud.
Mm-hmm. And we had either Coopers or Sharpshin fly through and scatter everybody this afternoon too. So, well, it's about 7, so I think I'll go ahead and get started. A few more people might be joining us. Good evening. My name is Mark Broman. I'm the executive director of Wachiska Audubon. We're an independent local chapter of National Audubon with a coverage of 17 counties in southeast Nebraska. I've got a couple announcements tonight. I'll start with we've got some bird seed left from our bird seed sale. So I've got two 25-pound bag of sunflower seeds, the black oil. Those are $28 each. And then I've got one 40-pound bag of the classic Audubon mix for $50. And I've got them out in my car, so if anyone's interested, grab a hold of me afterwards. And then out at the front counter, you probably saw when you signed in, we've got some suet cakes, the high-energy suet cakes for sale, and they're $2 each. So if you want to grab some of those before you leave, we've got some out there. And I want to thank everybody that bought seed from us a couple weeks ago. It came out and picked it up. So we sold about 60 bags and then several cases of suet. So we did well. Also, if you ever want to come out and tour Prairie Pines, but don't get around very well, we do have a couple of golf carts now. One of them is a 3-row and one's a 2-row, and both of them are running. And I'd be glad to give you a tour. Just give me a call. I'm out there most days, but make sure I'm there. It's open Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Prairie Pines Partners has volunteers that staff it from 9 to 5 on Friday and Saturday. And then on Sunday, it's open in the afternoon, 1 to 5. But if you want to come out during the week and I'm there, I'd be glad to give you a tour of the property. And on that note, I want to thank Linda Brown for donating some funds to replace the batteries on the one golf cart. We were out of commission for a while because our one and only golf cart had a battery problem. So we've got that fixed, and so we're good to go. We're also looking for folks, some volunteers with carpentry skills. We've got some of the Prairie Pines folks who are doing some structural things out there. And so they said if there's anyone who has some carpentry skills and would like to come out, let me know. We've got a couple work days probably coming up yet before the snow flies. And also, if you're interested in just doing some volunteering, I've got some people coming out tomorrow even to do a little painting and maybe move some chips around. So if you want to come out and join us sometime, just let me know. Get a hold of me, let me know you're interested, or if you want to wait till spring, that's fine too. I'm going to ask for any Wachiska board members, current board members, to stand up and be recognized. So I know we've got several people in the audience, so we'll have Tim, and I see Ross is back there. We've got Carol and Ann and Chris, and so I want to thank all of you. So these are current board members. We'll have some elections going on here in just a second. So I want everyone to kind of know who the people are that are on the board right now. And with that, I'll have Ann make her way up. Ann's our vice president, and she's going to conduct the board elections. We've got 3 new candidates, and we've got 3 people going off the board, and we've got 3 people that are renewing their terms. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ann and let her conduct the elections. Ann?
Thanks, Mark, and hi, everyone. I'm Ann Briggs. I'm the board vice president, so I'm here in place of Teresa tonight to conduct the election for the new board members. So this year's nominating committee members are Cheryl Moncure, Roxanne Smith, Mike Malloy, Teresa Pella, and Mark Broman. The committee presents the following slate of candidates for the 2026 board. The slate was accepted by the board during the October 21st meeting. For treasurer, we have Carol Bodine to serve a 2-year term. For secretary, we have April Stevenson to serve a 2-year term. For Director at Large number 1, we have Alex Knight to serve a 2-year term, and this would be to replace Chris Powers. Director at Large number 3, we have Al Davis to serve a 2-year term, and this would be to replace Doug Campbell. Director at Large number 5, Nancy Baer to serve a 2-year term, replacing Stu Ludich. And finally, Director at Large number 7, Andrea Foss to serve an additional 2-year term. The bios for each of the candidates are available in the November 2025 Babbling Brook and are also available at the sign-in table tonight. They have all been verified to be active Wachiska Friends or National Audubon Society members, and they've agreed to be nominated. Our bylaws state that members and friends must be present to vote, unfortunately not viewing online, and will constitute a quorum. They also allow that members attending tonight's meeting may nominate additional candidates from the floor. Any nominee from the floor must be an active friend or national member and agree to be nominated. So I'll pause at this time. Do we have any nominations from the floor for candidates for the board? Okay, hearing none, I would take a motion to approve the slate as presented. Okay, great, and I'll take a second as well. Thank you very much, everybody. All in favor of approving the slate of candidates, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Excellent. With that, the nominees are elected and they will take office on January 1st. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ann. I'll have Nancy just stand up and introduce yourself, and then I'll have Alex. So Nancy, go ahead and maybe just stand up and say hello, and if you want to say a little something, you can, but so that folks know who our newest board member is.
Hi. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you, Nan. Thank you for remembering to do that, Linda.
Here, wait a minute.
Yep, here comes Linda with it. That way folks at home can hear. Yep. I don't see Al. Al was going to try to make it tonight, but I know he had some other things going on, so go ahead,
Hi,
Nancy.
I'm Nancy Bear, and I've long been a fan of the Audubon Society, and I aspire to be more active. So, thank you.
Thank you. Now Alex is one row back. Linda?
Hello, everyone. I'm Alex Knight. I belong here and the Sierra Club, and I'm a legacy member of the Nature Conservancy. And for the longest time, from a little kid in my grandmother's garden to my first home and composting to now, nature matters to me, and I'm very honored to be a part of your group. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex. And the third newest member, he was going to try to make it tonight, but that's Senator Al Davis. He's from Hyannis originally, but he's moved to Lincoln, and he's very interested in environmental causes. He's currently the lobbyist for the Sierra Club and very active in the Sierra Club, but he owns a large ranch in Hyannis area, so I've known Al for a long time, so he's the third. So I'd like to congratulate our three newest board members and our three continuing members, and then a big thank you to the three members that are stepping off. So thank you for your service. We're going to take a couple minutes and see if there's been any unusual. There's Al. We'll get the microphone. We'll let Al. We just got done with giving a little intro, Al, so we'll let you just give an intro of yourself so that people know who you are.
Here,
And you've already been elected, so you don't have to worry what you say. You've already been nominated and elected, so. Yeah, it was that quick.
Well, thank you for nominating me, and thank you for voting for me. I guess that's everything I should say. And if you don't know who I am a rancher from the Hyannis, Nebraska area where I grew up, and was in the legislature for 4 years, and I've been lobbying for the Sierra Club of Nebraska for the last 6 years in the legislature, which is a job I really enjoy. And I've worked with Mark for a number of years, and we got a good leader here. Thanks.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you.
And I think Al's ranch has been in the family since, what, 1888? Yep, so a long time sandhiller, as you would say. So we'll take a couple minutes and see if we have any unusual bird sightings. We like to do that and see. I'll just mention that we've had nuthatches, towhees, blue jays, cardinals, juncos, and several species of woodpeckers this last week or two at a prairie pine, so it's been very active. And then today, my crow buddies just came back. They hadn't been around for a couple weeks. All summer long, they'd come in, and there's only one bird bath they use. It's one on the ground, and they would leave me presents, little bones and corn cobs, and then they stopped doing that. But today I went out and looked, and I didn't have any presents either. So with that, do we have any unusual bird sightings or anything fun in your backyard? We got anything going on? Yes, Twyla. Brown creeper. Good. Two of them. Okay. Anything else? Anybody been doing any travel? Yes.
Well, there's been this Costas hummingbird that's been hanging around for a month.
Yeah, you still got a Costas hummingbird hanging out.
Not in my yard.
Okay.
It's at 9th and C.
9th and C.
I'm worried about this.
Yeah, with this, this nice warm weather, it'll probably take advantage, but these cold nights, that's going to be tough. Ross.
Our hay tenant down at Clackamas sent me a photo of a prairie chicken.
A prairie chicken at Klapka Prairie down south of Table Rock. So if you get a chance, go down to Klapka Prairie, maybe you'll see there's also the scissor-tail flycatchers nested down there on a utility pole on the edge of Klapka. Okay? Anything else? Ned, you've probably got a few.
Well, I've never seen so many white-throated sparrows
White-throated sparrows, lots of them. Where did you see them?
I saw them at Pawnee Lake
Pawnee Lake,
and then at Prairie Pines.
Prairie Pines. Okay.
And I saw them at Platte River State Park and heard them, one of them land right in front of me about 5 feet. He sat in a tree stump and stared at me. And then, when we were traveling to Chicago last week, we were at a truck stop, and lo and behold, one flew down and started singing from one of the gas.
So a truck stop in Chicago, you had a white-throated sparrow, huh?
It's actually in Davenport, Iowa.
Oh, Davenport, Iowa. Okay.
It wasn't even anything remote or a natural landscape at all.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Anything else? Anybody else have anything? Okay. Well, with that, I'll remind everyone that tonight's presentation and past presentations are available on YouTube. So if you want to recommend this to friends, or if you missed the last month's or something, want to catch up on them, you can go there and catch on them. Afterwards, after the presentation tonight, we'll have cookies out in the rotunda, so be sure and stick around for that. And at this time, I'm going to have our office administrator come up, Wendy Bantam, come forward and introduce tonight's speaker. She's known her for a long time, and so I'll let Wendy introduce our speaker.
I had a little laugh because I was thinking, what if birds have meetings and they go, yeah, we saw this guy wearing a blue shirt down at the Phillips 66. I saw a lady wearing a yellow sweater, and then they all talk about it. They make a good New Yorker cartoon. But good evening, everyone. We're delighted to welcome to you this evening's installment of the speaker series featuring a distinctive and essential voice in regional poetry, Twyla M. Hansen. I wrote this down because I'm a little nervous because I'm excited, and I'm glad you're all here. A native Nebraskan, Twyla is an accomplished poet, horticulturalist, and Nebraska State Poet Laureate. Her deep roots in the Great Plains inform the verse she writes. Her work intertwines agroecology, nature, and the human experience of living on the land. Through collections like Potato Soup, Dirt Songs, and A Plains Duet, and Rock Tree Bird, she offers vivid, grounded, and tender perspectives on the prairie, subtle shifts in seasons, and the dignity of the heartland. Her poetry has earned Nebraska Book Awards and significant literary honors. My first job at Nebraska Wesleyan when I was a student there was working for Twyla on the grounds crew. And it was a great learning experience. I learned a lot, and I really enjoyed that job. I ended up transferring to the University of Kansas, and then I saw Twyla again when I returned and joined Wesleyan Writers. I think Wesleyan Writers has been together for 35, 38 years, 40 years. And I've been with Wesleyan Writers for 25 years. And I greatly respect Twyla's writing, so please join me in giving a warm welcome to the inimitable Twyla M. Hansen.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Is this too loud? No, okay, good. I'm delighted to be here and read some poems, and I'm so glad to see some familiar faces. Old neighbors moved to Kansas. You aren't old neighbors, but you know what I mean. Okay, long time. Anyway, and I'm excited because I'm going to read some new poems too. So out of my new collection that will be published next year. But I brought 4 of my books with me that I have in print still. So I'll start with a few poems from each of my books here. And I'll start with some from Potato Soup. I call that my earthy mix. First Frost. And the quote is from Rilke, a German poet, who said, "Come close to nature, then try to say what you see and feel and love and lose." It's as if the sudden change has sharpened things. This microcosm at the first light below a footbridge on the edge of the city sprawl in the middle of the mainland. Beaver at the point of a V in brown water, its naked scaly tail trolling the shallow creek, now diving above wavy mud, paddling then along the grassy bank. And upstream through pillars of fog, I recognize the silhouette of heron, unmoving in the warm water, and from a scrub elm, its roots clinging to steepness, a kingfisher dives, hovers, plunges, emerges. My eyes on this, all until the cold snap from the handrail metal through my mittened hand, and I see again along the high embankment a figure hauling its bedroll, turning east away from me. Man who, as the innocent child points out, is lucky to be alive. And I agree, love, I agree. Child with her arm around me in this heated shelter, her adorable yet changing face raised to mine. Okay, so most of my poems are stories, and I think we learn through stories. We take all this, the smells and sights and sounds through your body. That's how we learn things, and that's how we understand what somebody's trying to say. So I try to tell stories, and I think stories are more memorable. Stories are how we learn. And then there's a big difference between prose and poetry. Prose is known for what it includes, and poetry is known for what is left out. So poets are trying to condense everything into the fewest amount of words. And so that's why you have lines and stanzas and little short things. But prose goes all the way to the end of the page. And I know that's kind of like obvious, but in some ways it isn't. So the next one is Late Winter Survival. First, attempt to describe the blackbirds, the plentiful anonymous mass in the top of the cottonwood. Begin with black, copious and red-winged, knowing that anything specific will point only to more uncertainty. They will perch there, noisy and prim, defying also narration. Your mouth will be slack, your neck craned. In the populace, meaning prevalent, meaning of little ornamental value, tree that grew like a weed. Forget the Canadian breeze, the chill that knuckles your resolve, the snow deeper than recent memory. It will bring to mind those monster drifts of old days, how you and your brother climbed into the heights of the shelter belt, later slid into muck, the farmstead and roads and countryside, a sea of endless mud, until summer, when the wind exhaled, the soil cracked, and you ached for rain. Oh, my child, how you dreamed. And now this cackling confusion of starlings overhead, the sun at a sharper angle rousing the earth. Not the songbirds you smile at, but a migrating pack that grows darker each day, each passing day. Right now, the earth is tilted just so, and the sunlight is brilliant, and everything, every last thing seems possible. So that's my earthy mix, and this book came out in 2003, I think. And it was selected as a Nebraska 150 book for the centennial, so I was happy about that. They did all kinds of things for the centennial, you know. Well, we did a lot of cool things for the bicentennial, wasn't it? That we got the sculptures. Was that 150? Wait, I'm mixed up. I'm bad at numbers. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, Nebraska did something very cool. We built sculptures that were very controversial, but they turned out to be way cool. And no other state did that. They just had events, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, why not, you know? And it was very controversial. They were not local sculptors. They were not local artists. And they did some, like, the names of things were controversial, like Irma's Desire. Do you remember that one? Yeah. Well, it's beautiful. And his mother's name was Irma, and she had such great hopes for her son. Finally, when he explained that to the city, you know, people have met, and they were mad about it, you know. Oh, that's what that means, okay. You just need to talk to people, I guess. It's crazy. Okay, my next one book is Dirt Songs, a Plains duet. And I talked to Linda Hazelstrom, she's a well-known poet in South Dakota, to do a book with me. And so we put 50 of her poems and 50 of my poems together. And the cover is taken on her ranch just outside the Black Hills. And I grew up on a farm in northeast Nebraska, and I knew we had a lot of the same sensibilities. So she was a friend, but I had to kind of talk her into this book. I don't know why, you know, but she did. You know, she was a little skeptical. Anyway, here is one called Autumn. Okay, and I walk a lot. I used to get up every morning at 6:30 before work and walk up on Superior Street. We live just south of there. And there's a bike path on Superior Street. Autumn. I walk west before dawn, shiver at the sight of lightning, at clouds dark in the distance eclipsing a full harvest moon. Autumn, earth tipping on its axis, northern plains spiraling into the fermented season, creek a bulge on its tireless race to the river. No rumbling yet, just tires on pavement, wind howling a strong case. Walk fast, before your bones turn to ash. What keeps it all alive? At least I'm not alone. On concrete, a dictionary of motion. Ants, crickets, sowbugs in their constant unfinished calling. Others in grass stroking their waterproof shells. Just before the rain drops, I turn my back to thunder, face a sky trying its best, turning yellow pink, east light diffused and artsy, and speed up past the void of fields, going surely green to gold. And the next one I want to read, you know, it's a little awkward, you know, the end of the poem. I don't want to just rush into another one. So if anybody really likes a poem, you could clap, but I'm not telling you you have to. It just kind of breaks the, you know, something. I don't know. It's just me. Well, I know in academic settings, I would read down at the university or something, and nobody would clap, and it was like, just so awkward. Everybody's just sitting there, like, kind of makes you wonder. Okay. The next one's called Opossum. This is another story. Mostly they belong to the night, to the dull orange eye shine out of the thicket, the short legs scurrying over dry leaves. Today it waddles across the backyard to the deck for a drink from the bird's water dish, bringing its legends. My father telling how his mother chased one from the hen house With a shovel hit it into dirt, bleeding from its mouth then, until she returned to the house, only to see it limp off down the lane. Survival and adaptation and success, this primitive pouch mammal through the millennia unchanged. Built low, slow, clumsy paws, pink toes and bony tail, fur coarse and of little monetary value. That snout only a mother could love. So close now I can almost touch it. The possum, his face all grin and eyes blue sky. My father, in his faded stories, long since gone from my grasp. Thank you. My dad was a storyteller, and so, you know, he told some of the same stories over and over. I just got kind of sick of them. And I hate that now because I'd love to have him tell those stories, you know. I try to remember them. And if I don't remember them, I make them up. It's convenient. Okay, so rock tree bird, sort of like eat, love, pray, man, woman, child, whatever, kind of those kind of three-word titles. And the artwork is by my granddaughter, who got an art degree at UNL. She has a BFA, and she works at Bryan Health. Of course, it doesn't have art doesn't pay the bills. So anyway, and I'm pleased with that. Karen Kuntz was one of her teachers. So the first one in here I want to read is called How to Feed the Birds. You all know how to feed the birds, right? Early morning, pull on boots, down, hat, and mittens. With arms full, step out back into snow. Greet gusts straight from Saskatchewan. Crunch step on the empty shell mulch. Fill each feeder, thistle, black-oiled safflower. Check the upside-down hanging suet as a woodpecker rattles, hurry, hurry, up the ladder of trunk, and chickadee-dee seconds. It's 7 above. By degrees, the sun muscles into day. With an ungloved hand, swish out the water in the heated dish, empty, refill. Retreat to the house, quick. Rub your fingers above the stove. It's warmth from trees you planted. Watch the pine for movement, for the owls that might be nesting. Their hoots of homing you've heard after dark. Note the evergreens, the lofted bird hotels, the thicket now bare, revealing last year's nests. Watch for fur or feathers, tracks leading to the compost pile, now emptied of last night's scraps. The birds return, black-capped, red-clowned, ladderback, their blues and russets and golds. Even the sparrows, brown and nameless, bunch in approval. It's 10 above. The fire pops and snaps. Count your riches as you gaze toward the empty playhouse, swings and seesaw, until you hear the squeals and chatter. Perceive their dim movements, the children who are now gone. Without blinking, stare until the sun, reflected off snow, waters your eyes. Abandon the notion that you own one single thing. Yeah, no, kids grow up. And the playhouse was really made for our granddaughters. Our son had a playhouse too, but it was fallen down by then. But it's about an acre, and it's right on the edge of North Lincoln. There's a creek behind. When I talk about the creek, it's usually Salt Creek, which isn't too far away. And there's a waterway behind my property. And anyway, there's kind of a wildlife corridor, which is cool. Okay, this one is called Clouds. They gather, giant flattened cotton balls against the blue, floating in silence on an unseen river of air above the plains, above the tall maples now dotted black, birds on their fall migration, their noisy gathering against the green turning yellow, taking a dive. You see them from the highways, skir of darkness roller coasting the sky, those blackened mats over lawns, that constant call and response. A survival strategy, perhaps, by sheer numbers moving in packs, unlike humans, together yet alone, growing anxious as the light recedes. They gather, pluck, chatter, eat, those smaller relatives of the great thunderbird who creates wind with a flap of its wings, makes rain and sky rumblings, the lesser messengers between earth and heaven. And what can this mean, this cacophony, other than to pay attention? Reminding us to sing praises for the warm day, their chorus a stream floating upward into those clouds, which, looking out, we will conjure in the dead of winter. As the earth ever turns toward the morning, we will beseech those clouds once again to shine in the sun. Yeah, so thank you. So you know, those clouds are pretty cool. I have a book at home somebody gave me, A Cloud a Day. Yeah, it's a whole book. I mean, you know, with the descriptions, pretty cool. It's a coffee table book, so I don't read it very often, but, you know. Anyway, so Feeding the Fire. This is my newest book. Again, Maddie Hansen art, my granddaughter. I always like to show off her work. And it's called Feeding the Fire. The middle section contains my grief poems. My husband passed away in 2018, and I wrote a whole section of poems that pertain to my reaction to his death. He was 70 years old, and it's too young. So anyway, I'll start here with some happier poems. It's called January. And this is when one of my granddaughters was younger. Okay. Oops. January, and the waterfowl can't decide to stay or go. Blame it on an earlier balmy December. They move about, field to creek to lake, overhead some heading north, some south, in V's and U's and Y's, according to the 6-year-old. I stare at the long undulating lines and cannot disagree. According to the news, there are too many geese, their numbers soon to decrease by disease and open season. I pondered this on a walk beside the highway, and my mind split by a conversation in each ear. Noisy machinations from the geese-covered field, whined from hundreds of tires on the 4-lane, wondering which one is saner. By now they are everywhere, especially near water. Stubble fields, empty lots, backyards, blackheads, goosenecks, honking and craning and shuffling. A few mallards keeping company in a puddle next to the street. Later, we stop with the car windows down, study green duck heads, blue speculum on duck wings, so close we can almost touch. And from the back seat, the quiet 6-year-old arrives at her best response. Quack, you skills. Quack, you sillies. Quack, 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 quack. Oh, wait, no, I got to read one more from this. And this is a poem I put at the very front of the book, and I read it almost every time. My partner, Bryce Darling, is right here, and I'll read it. He hates that. So easy in fall. So easy in fall to fall in love of wind, the winds of fall. The blousy scents, warm, cool, in between, warm and cool battle, the season's whims. On a whim outing, walk with me on the prairie, walk the warm hilltops, step into the cool ravines. Before us, the native grass turns red, gold, purple. The late season forbs bend their heads. Wind and clouds stir. Birds scurr the sky, the calls and responses from somewhere close. Come lie with me, dear, where deer have rested. On thatch, rest your bones. We are here. Close your eyes. Breathe the soil, the drought, the rain, the green, the brown. Overhead seeds wave. That other world can wait. Okay, I don't know how I'm doing on time. I think I'm kind of fast, but we can have a long discussion, right? Either that or I'll give you a quiz. Oh, that's right. We don't doing that. Okay, well, I have a new collection that'll be published next year. I'm really excited about it. Inventions of Love. And I have artwork by Bryce Darling. Only it's kind of dark. This photo's no good. But anyway, all kinds of love, people, places, and things. And so I want to read one poem out of the place. Well, the first part is like my ancestors and my how I grew up and all that stuff, you know. And then finding new love. And a lot of poems are in form. So I'll tell you when I sneak a form poem in here. This is one of the place poems. Where I live. Before daybreak, you may find me bundled against wind, following the tracks of paws on a crust of snow, past the seesaw trunks, past the stalks of tall sumac, past the swings in the playhouse to the pile, where I fling bread crust, eggshells, leftover triangles of pizza, feed the hunger of creatures after nightfall, fox, raccoon, opossum, or in sun, strayed deer with things with feathers, spring dreams below the horizon. You may find me gazing skyward in navy air at clusters of stars, the planets, and with luck, the crisp lemon-sliced moon, breathing damp air, winter heaving from under fallen leaves. And at daybreak, you may find me looking out to children who no longer play there, who dwell elsewhere. I smile now at the flame of those shadows. Watch instead for red tails on bare limbs, running V's of geese over the meadow. Praise the goddess of beauty who taught me to love this place where I live. Thank you. So in the things section, I get a little more militant about the environment, I guess. My poems have gotten stronger in that regard. I mean, I believe it's wonderful to have birds, appreciate birds, love wildlife, but you've got to be an advocate anymore. They can't speak for themselves. Yeah, thank you. So we have to do that, and I feel it's my responsibility to let my legislators know about my views on the environment. So I'm one of these callers, these people that call. And I've been doing this since February, and I never run out of things to call about. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe that'll change. I don't know. Okay, I want to. Yes. The first one is a prayer. You probably haven't heard this prayer before, but I'll spring it on you anyway. It's called the Bird's Prayer. Our mother who is the earth, hallowed is your soil. Our heavens hurt, our creatures all suffer, as do bodies of water. Give us this day our daily food, free of pesticides, as the feds give pass to those who poison us. But lead no one into complacency, and help them to ban such evils. For yours are the forests, the fire, the prairies, and our homes forever, we hope. Thank you. I guess I was going to lead with that one. Never mind. I only have this slightly organized. Okay, I don't know if you remember last November in 2024, we had a really dry summer, and then we didn't get any rain for a long time. It was really dry in the fall. So this poem is called In the Year of Endless Fall, mid-November. And this poem is a quatrain. So a quatrain has 4-line stanzas, and then they have a line that repeats all the way down in a different order. Okay, that's just a detail. That's a geeky poet thing. But I really am getting into forms. I really like them. Okay. In the year of endless fall, drought persists and devil dust pummels the tongue. Falling leaves are only rain, an earthly carpet we let lie to help birds after winter. That was kind of a rocky start, sorry about that. Worthy bugs overwinter under oak leaves in the year of endless fall, and in normal, whatever that is, as the climate pumps heat, while El Nino now rolls the dice. More darkness now, long nights of shadows, the reds, oranges, yellows exaggerated in the year of endless fall, both sunrise and sundown a brilliant choral. All we can do is wring our hands at sundown as the crescent moon, now a waxing sliver of burnt ember, dives below the tree line in the year of endless fall. So that's I didn't think I liked forms, and I took a class. I take all the classes I can get. I mean, I'm not an English major, so I have to make up for time here. And so I've been taking classes through Lark Songwriters Place, which I'm a board member of, and is a local place. They're almost 5 years old this year. We're going to have a party, so you're all invited. It's over on North Cotner, about just north of Holdridge. Anyway, it's going to be fun. All right, so I have just 2 more poems to read. So time flies, doesn't it? And this one is a guzzle, which really looks like gozle. It's an ancient form. So it has rhyming last words in a kind of I think all through the poem. So it's 2-line stanzas. The heat is a slap in the face. Extreme heat is a slap in the face. Blaze summer rays on steroids, unkind embrace. kills more humans here than tornadoes, floods, hurricanes combined. Raise hell, start a race. Deniers cripple while nature adapts. Decades of delay furthers the debase. Cities are double whammied. More pavement, craze to develop, loss of open space. Food, flora, fauna will all take a hit. We daze and continue to retrace. Where there's green, there's hope, but we can't take it for granted. Appraise, change, or more disgrace. What on earth will be left for the grandkids? Let's amaze ourselves. May we act with grace. Thank you. Okay, and I want to end with this poem. It's in the book I did with Paul Johnsgaard. It's, forget the name of that book. It's out of print. I don't have any more of them, but I think they have maybe a whole truckload of them out of Spring Creek Prairie. They printed like 1,000 copies and finally had to give them away. But anyway, it was a great project because I talked him into doing some of his line drawing. I asked him if he had any nature or prairie drawings, and he says, I have thousands of drawings, you know. And he was great. He was an interesting cat to work with. But I wrote some poems, and then he put his poems or his drawings with them. And then I ran out of poems, so I looked at his drawings. You know, it was one of those back and forth things. But anyway, I just kept the poems short, and so each facing page had a poem with that drawing. So it was a cool project. Anyway, this is the last poem in that book, This Fragile Healing Land. How fragile this land is and how healing, that we might gather its bounty, be humbled by its opulent and sufficient nourishment. If we could only learn to inhale its pale breath, abandon ourselves to its fragmented song. See there, water, leaf, feather, ribbons in the wind, the sun a copper disk at sunset. Let the wheel of your singular mind unwind. Imprint your body with each phase of the moon. Be open to the unexpected. Expect to be amazed. Thank you.
We'll get a microphone so the people at home can hear the questions.
Okay.
So raise your hands and I'll bring a microphone around.
Any rebuttals? I always have to ask that.
Well, I might ask first, when did you first start writing seriously? Grade school, junior high, high school? Do you remember when you first started writing
Yeah,
serious?
no, none of the above.
Okay.
I was working at Nebraska Wesleyan University as the grounds manager and arboretum curator. And I wandered in, so when I got my degree in horticulture, I only had to have like 9 hours of humanities. It's just ridiculous, you know. And I filled it all up with horticulture classes that I'll never use. Anyway, so yeah. I even took to statistics, I think. I don't know, genetic stuff. Anyway, I didn't go into that. But anyway, so Bill Clefcorn taught, he was the first state poet. And he was teaching this poetry class. And I took the poetry class and didn't stop writing afterwards. So anyway, that's my story.
Okay, thanks. Any questions?
Anybody else? Because I'll keep talking if you don't ask a question.
Here we go.
You drew a lot of wonderful pictures to my mind.
In just a minute, we'll give you the microphone for people at home.
And particularly, I loved the possum coming up and drinking water, because I have a picture of the fox that is in our backyard all the time, standing in a 4-foot bird bath, drinking water.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so but all your poems brought beautiful pictures to mind, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Twyla, when you were state poet, what
Oh,
did
I
that
know you.
involve exactly?
Are you Jim Locklear?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. What did you say?
When you were the state poet, what did that involve? Did you travel around
Yeah,
the state?
okay.
or-
So Nebraska has one poet laureate. I don't know if you know this. And that's John Neihardt. And then 1921, he became the legislature appointed him. And then they loved him so much that in 1927, he became the poet laureate in perpetuity for Nebraska. So unless the legislature gets their act together, we will never have another poet laureate. So, okay, and that was a lifetime term. He died in 1973. Well, in the 80s, early 80s, they decided to find another person in a poetry capacity for the state, but not the legislature. So the Arts Council, Humanities Nebraska, and Library Commission got a group together and decided to interview people to become this. They had to call it something different, so they called it a state poet. And I think 43 states have a position for a writer. Some of them are prose writers and some are poets or whatever. And yeah, so, and then that was a lifetime position for Bill Clefcorn. And he died in oh dear. Yeah, something like that. So, I don't remember. Anyway, and that, okay. So then after that, it was like, because I was appointed in 2013, so he must have died in 2011, I think that's right. And then, so, okay, then after he died, they asked a bunch of writers, what do you want what criteria do you want, or what do you want to set up for the next one? Because they really had no criteria for interviewing or anything. It was kind of like the ones who, okay, so anyway, so I said, well, we ought to have term limits because, people die if at the end of your term if you don't have term limits. So, and so they decided on 5-year terms. And I'm glad because there's a lot of good writers in Nebraska. And now we have 2 more state poets, Matt Mason from Omaha, and now Jewel Rogers from Omaha. And she's a spoken word poet. Fantastic. So it's all exciting. So anyway, yes, but what did I do as a position? And what involves is a lot of travel. And
Does it pay pretty good?
oh, yeah, tremendous. No, I got gigs through Humanities Nebraska, so that's how I got paid. And it's not great, but it's they pay mileage and all that stuff, and per diem if you're over a certain time. And that's how I did my whole 5 years. And Matt Mason came along, and then they had COVID. A couple of years he did things on Zoom. He had meetings. He was really great, and he's a fantastic guy. His project, I was on the selection committee, and I thought, this will never get done. But he wanted to have an event in every county in Nebraska, and he did it. They gave him an extra year because of COVID, so he had a 6-year term. But anyway. And Jewel Rogers is just getting up and started. If you ever get a chance, she's fantastic. So really sensational. But travel, I would meet with library groups, book clubs, schools. I didn't do too much in schools, but because they have all these, requirements to test, and it didn't really fit. Matt Mason figured out how to make that fit, so he did a lot of schools. Just a lot of good people, especially at libraries, and I did do some student work, but a lot of great people. Yeah, artists.
There we go. Let's go artists, and then we'll go down to Judith.
You haven't mentioned Ted Kuzer, and I've been waiting for that because he spoke to us several times, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
was.
Yeah, Ted Kuzer is a U.S. poet laureate. So he had a 2-year term. That's like normally a 1-year term, I think. But he had project with those wonderful newspaper columns. I don't know if any saw those. They were free to the newspaper, but they don't have them anymore. But that was a nice project. And he's retired now from the university.
Judith, you have a question?
Twyla, would you talk for a minute about your poetry in relationship to journals and also in relationship to writing groups? In other words, how do these things come into being?
Yeah, well, I don't journal. A lot of people do. It's kind of like a diary. One friend of mine, she writes something every day in this journal, but it's not really writing. It's what she wants to do that day. But yeah, I know a lot of people who keep journals. In fact, I have 2 friends who get these black they're not notebooks, but they're books, almost no lines on the pages. They're art books. They're archival paper in them, and they fill up their closet, with the years and years that they've been writing. And then she says, one of them said, "Well, I don't want my son to see some of those." And they say, "Go burn them, if you don't want anybody to see them." But I don't do that. I started out writing in cheap notebooks, and now I'm mostly on my laptop. So, but writers groups are very good. I'm in 3 writers groups. I'm in the Wesleyan Writers Group, which has been revived. Scott's in that, and then there's the Prairie Trout, 5 women who we started 40 years ago before anyone was famous. Mary Piper being one of them, and Karen Shoemaker, who started Lark Song. Marge Sizer, some of you might know her. She was, I think, a member. And let's see, Pam Barger, who's a talented singer and now a writer. So anyway, and the 3rd group is a group that meets quarterly up on the Platte River, and oh boy, that is great fun. We are overnight there, about just over 24 hours, but a lot of fun. And now, when you're that tight with a group of 6 people or whatever, you know all about their lives through their writing. It's fantastic. So we're really close friends. Anyway.
Do we have a last question here? Well, I want to thank Twyla here, Ned's got one, but I do want to thank Twyla for coming out tonight and spending time with us, and be sure and enjoy some cookies with us and buy a book. She's got her books out here before you leave, so Ned, go ahead.
Twyla, you made allusions to wellness in a number of your poems, and you also mentioned the grief process you went through, the loss of your husband. Could you tell us more about how exposure to nature and writing has been renewing and rejuvenating for you?
Yeah, I mean, so my yard is a wildlife habitat certified. I have pollinator plants, and I just love watching all the pollinator attractions in the yard. It's mostly wild, though, it's a lot of work, and I'm trying to get more plants in the back. It's my neighbors know what this is, I also got 2 weed notices back when they had, the weed board or whatever. They didn't listen to, what was his name? Yeah, okay. He said, if you can't join them, eat them, you know, something like that. He advocated for eating the weeds. But anyway, they were offensive to one of my neighbors, and I didn't know who it was. But I found out later, sort of by accident. But anyway, so I had to clean up that space. They said they threatened to come in my whole yard and mow everything down. And I didn't want that. So did mow that front area. And then the second time it happened, this isn't answering your question, is it? Well, you're going to hear it anyway. But anyway, I named every plant in my yard, and including the weeds. There were weeds, you know, like wild lettuce and all that stuff. But they backed off. And I think Lincoln has gotten a little more relaxed about that kind of exact stuff. So if you ever need help, you know, just write a letter. Tell them what you got, you know. Anyway, but getting back to, I'll keep this short. But nature really is what kept me going. I could sit in my glassed room looking back out at the wildlife and the birds, and kept me going all that time.
Well, thank you, Twyla. Let's all thank Twyla for a lovely.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. And be sure and stop out and have a cookie and buy a book.